This is the daily presentation of the PL-89 calendar that I have been working on since the late summer of 2012. It was the Hebrew year 5772. And this is going to be 13 years. This summer, late summer, is going to be 13 years that I've been developing this calendar. And I take a few minutes every day, 5, 10, 15 minutes, sometimes more, to present what it is. It is a lunar and solar calendar. It is a calendar that combines the Hebrew calendar and the Gregorian calendar, the modern day, the secular calendar that we use. And it takes into consideration the Julian calendar, which is 13 days behind the Gregorian calendar. And it also takes into consideration the planet Mercury. And the idea of this calendar, the numbers that you see on these boxes are based on verses in the Bible that come from the book of Leviticus, chapter 25, verse 20. And it's very interesting that this year is 2025, and the verses that this is based on is now being presented in the year that have the same numbers as the chapter and verse that it's in. And that's really the idea of this whole, it has several names, and it's called the PL-89 Gematriatic calendar, the Mercury Thought calendar, the Mercury Gematria calendar, and I think that's about it. I think I've had a few more names in the past, but that should really sum up what it is. The amount of boxes that you're looking at are 80 boxes, because there's 8 columns and 10 rows, and beneath the 10th row is one more row that would make, and plus 2 days, which would make it 90 days altogether. A maximum of 90, maybe 91 days, but a maximum of 90 days. 91, I say 91 because of the Gregorian calendar, it has 31 days in several months, and sometimes the last month puts it 1 day, but that would all depend on the mode that it's in. But today, on this calendar, in the Gregorian date, which represents the sun, it is box number 1. Also, what you remember is when you see these purple and lavender boxes, think of it like if you ever seen the program Excel, when you have these different cells, and you can actually open up you can merge the cells into one cell, and so this functions in the same way. So when you see these boxes and you see a purple and a lavender, that's one of the reasons why it's called PL-89, purple and lavender. This is lavender, this is purple, and they have a number to each box, which generally represents each day. However, each box can merge into the one next to it, and it forms, it's called a cuboid. So it's just that's a name for a 3D rectangle. So today, the box number is 1, the cuboid is 32 and 1. The cuboid is 32, if you can see very closely here, 32 and 1. And today is Sunday, the first day of the week, which starts the new Torah portion of Balak, or Balak, depending on your pronunciation, but Balak has a numerical value of 132. And so 321 is a permutation of 132. It's a rearrangement of the digits, which is very important in this work. And I did some pondering, some thinking about when permutations are useful and when they are not. And the first thought right away is that if something costs $3.21, you're not going to get it for $1.32. You just won't. And if something costs $1.32 and you pay, if someone pays $3.21, then they're just not very smart. And so it doesn't work for quantity, but it works for identifying. and connecting. And so I'm careful when I use permutations and when I don't. But in this work, permutations are very valuable because it's not about measuring something or quantifying something as much as it is about connecting something and identifying the similarity between things. In that case, permutations are not only permissible, but they're actually very useful because permutations it has the same quality of the thing that it is being connected to, and yet it's different. It's very important that it's different, and it's also important that it's the same. A good example that I like to give is colors. If every number was a color, and let's say 1 was white, and 2 is yellow, and 3 is green. If you saw a box that had white, yellow, and green, and then another box that had green, white, and then yellow, or any combination of those, they would look similar. And you would think that they are in the same group as opposed to if it was red and blue and gray or something. So that's how numbers can be used. And that's how they are used in the PL-89 and also in the infinity pi matrix that I also work with and trying to connect that with this and other works too, 752 squares, but that's for a different time. But today's date is July 6th, and July 6th falls out on the 1 here. And so the 1 next in the box next to it is 32. Again, so it's 321, or you can read it backwards. You can say 123, or you can switch around the 32. But Balak, Bet, Lamed, and Kuf. Kuf is 100, Lamed is 30, and Bet is 2. So 132 is a permutation of 321. That would be the connection of today, and we start that parsha today. Well, literally yesterday afternoon, but for all practical purposes, Sunday is the first day of the week, so you can see the connection there. Okay, that's for the sun. Now the moon is also just it's like in the future when the sun and the moon have their light shining in full capacity, something to that extent. There's a midrash that talks about the moon being jealous of the sun, so to speak. It's like a metaphor, but this just has to do with the sun and the moon both being equal in a sense. And so the moon is at 35. Okay, so the 10th day of every month, whether it's Tammuz or whether it's July, it doesn't matter because it's lunisolar. Both of the calendars exist within this one calendar. And that's where Mercury comes in. Mercury is the unifier, is the synthesizer of both the sun and the moon in this particular idea. And so box number 35 would be the 10th of Tammuz, which is today. But since this third, it's three months, and 3 months is based on a verse in the book of Exodus, chapter 2, where it says that Moses' mother hid him for 3 months. Vatitzpenenu shlosha yerachim is what's stated. And since Moses was a goel, a redeemer, and many of the qualities of Moses in the Exodus story are paralleled in the final redemption, and that's the reason why it's taken from that. These 3 months are 3 months that continue and continue, and also 3 months is a mercurial year, meaning that according to published data, Mercury revolves around the sun every 87 point something days, 88 days, and that's about 90 days, which is about 3 months. So that's why it's the Mercury calendar. So every time we go through 3 months, we go through a whole year of Mercury. And it's the Mercury thought calendar because we see thoughts that happen at the gematriatic level. And they're measured over time. Are there patterns? Are there connections between, are there objective things that can be identified that happen at certain times? That's what this measures as well. So 35 is interesting because I mentioned this in a previous video, that I'm trying to make a bridge between the subjective and the objective. If I say 35 and something happened in my life at 35, I'm guessing, and I think probably there's a good chance that the number 35 happened to many, many other people. And I'm trying to gain some kind of consensus through that, trying to connect with that idea. But today, there is someone in the Jewish world, in the Haredi Orthodox world in Jerusalem, there is someone named the Yanuka. That's not his actual name, it's a title. Yanuka is like, I think it comes from the Zohar, that is a young prodigy who excels and is brilliant and knows the Torah in a way that exceeds everyone, excels above everyone else, like a genius or ahead of his time. So this, his name is Rabbi Shlomo Yehuda Be'eri, I think. Be'eri? I think that's it. But he lives in Jerusalem, not too far from where I live right now. And his name came up. His name doesn't usually come up in everyday conversation, but I spoke with some people who went and saw him. And so I put in English Gematria is very prevalent in the system. English Gematria, in fact, is just as significant as Hebrew. And I've seen there's some deep, deep secrets that are embedded within specifically English Gematria. So I have a 36-part cipher. Basically, it's 36 ciphers. Every one word gets an option of 36 different results. So Yanuka could be 73 based on one cipher. It can be I don't know, 861 based on another. I'm just guessing. I just threw that number out there, but it is 73 based on English, but it's not. But anyway, 861. I just made it up. But anyway, Yanuka, according to cipher 11, which is reversed full. Let me see. I can get the names here. I think it might be good.